Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining. We have a really exciting program today for our first event, Fall in Love with NFTs. We've been hearing so much from our community about how they want to learn more, how they still don't understand quite what an NFT is or the utility, and moreover, what types of things that they should look into when they're thinking about purchasing one. We're really excited to host this event today in partnership with Stacy Whittle and the Teatro de Corazon. Thank you so much for being our production partners. W Coin is is the Women's Crypto Organizing and Investment Network. We were founded to empower women and allies in their crypto journey. We're a platform that provides key educational resources, investment explanations, and grassroots advocacy in order to ensure an inclusive Web3 future. We want to make sure that as the industry continues to take off, that more women are brought in and are part of the process. Only through understanding the space can we continue to increase our financial literacy and independence and achieve equity in the world, which is why crypto is here to begin with. Anyway, thank you so much for joining again, and over to Stacy.
Thank you, Anastasia. I really appreciate the introduction. Thank you for making me a part of this. I've learned so much over these past few months being part of this network, and producing this has been a dream. It's a dream team that you're going to hear from. You're going to learn exactly what you need to know about how to mint an NFT, what it is, why you should care, and at the end of the day, why it can benefit communities that need it. So I don't want to take up much more time because we have a stellar panel in front of us. So thank you again to Anastasia and Tahara for allowing me to be part of this production team. And over to you, Nick.
Thank you guys for inviting me. I am always excited to talk about NFTs and explain them to people. I think they do have a misconception, and I know there's a need for better education. So I have some ways that I've been explaining them to people that might make them a little more simple or palatable or consumable for people who are having a little bit of a hard time understanding what an NFT is. I think the first thing I like to explain to people is that I describe Web 2, or the system that you're used to now, as a transfer of information, meaning with Google and the internet, we immediately had information on our hands that we could share. Web 3 in the new space we're entering is more about sharing value. How can we not just share information? How can we pass value along the blockchain? The one question my friends ask me is, why is that NFT worth so much money? Why is that worth anything at all? What is the value of an NFT? And I think I can explain it if I give an analogy to something maybe in the real world. And one that I always use is, let's say you were sitting at a diner on Christmas Eve and you looked out the window across at a bar, and a biker gang rolled up to the bar. Those jackets can be a nice representation of what I think NFTs are. There's a value to the jacket because it's leather. It has an intrinsic value as warmth, as an actual coat or an accessory. But to the people in the biker gang, that jacket means a lot more. It means they're part of a community that goes to Sturgis together and celebrates birthdays and support each other's lives. So that's kind of what I describe an NFT as. Some of the NFTs that you might own will have an artistic value that you might really love. Maybe it's an artist like Mumbot or Buff Monster, and you really engage with the art and like having it in your collection. But what you're also going to be sharing is other people that have art from that collection that form a community. And because of the blockchain, we can actually put identifiers on these pieces of art so they can't be replicated. They're non-fungible. And we can also share them and trade them across the entire globe, which is one of the fun things about NFTs that's different from a club or a fraternity or group you might be in the real world. Another analogy I know people can resonate with is baseball cards. One of the top NFTs right now is the NBA Top Shot NFT project, and they're digital basketball cards. Now, what's the difference from the basketball cards and the baseball cards I traded when I was a kid? When I was a kid, I loved having baseball cards, but the industry kind of fell on hard times because if I got a very rare card from my favorite player, the only way that the company that printed those cards could make any money was to issue more cards. And my rare card suddenly wasn't very rare anymore. With digital assets, one thing that people are doing that I think is a real key is they're adding a secondary sales component to that digital asset. Well, what that means is every time that card gets sold and then resold to someone else, the original creators get a percentage of it. So there's never any issue or need to issue any more of those tokens. And what that caused in the NFT space is scarcity, where there are only 10,000 NFTs of LeBron James dunking at a certain event. And there will never be any more than that, and the company will never need to issue anymore. So what NFTs are, again, they're valuable tokens, and they mean value to different people for different reasons. Maybe it's the art, it's the membership in a global community, and it's the ability to trade them instantly, which is also very appealing to people. And that's basically my NFT 101 for people that want to hear it in non-technical terms, what they think NFTs are and how they might affect their life and come into your life. And now I would like to pass it over to Tahera if she wanted to talk with the group, if anyone had any more insight on the NFT space.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tahera Zamanzada, founding member of WCoin, and I have the privilege of having a fireside chat with 3 experts of Web3. But first, thanks to Nick for that phenomenal explanation of all that is NFT. I love the analogies you use, Nick, to help us understand what NFTs can be compared to in our current life. From the exclusive biker gang leather jackets to the baseball and basketball cards of yesteryears, it makes such a good way to explain and identify exactly what NFTs could be related to. So let's dig in. I want to introduce our panel so we can get started on some questions we have for them. So let me introduce our panel so we can get started on some questions that I know everyone's itching to ask you guys. First, welcome Raisa Suarez, Senior UI UX Designer and creator of Women in Tech Capital NFTs. Hi, Raisa.
Hello, Tahera. Thank you so much to you and WeCoin for having us here and being among these amazing people from House of First and One of. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Jen Stiles, Vice President of Communications for One of Inc. Welcome, Jen.
Hi, everyone. Great to meet you all.
And Nick Fontova, you guys have already been introduced to him a little bit. Chief Marketing Officer for the Metaverse Business for Landmark Ventures. Hey, Nick.
Hi, how are you?
Good. And lastly, but not least, Crystal Rosenbrook, Community Manager for Landmark Ventures.
Hello. Good to be
Awesome.
here.
Hi, welcome. So I wanted to start off with Jen. I follow you on Twitter. I have a Twitter crush on you, just so you know. And I love that your bio says that you're always learning, because I think it's definitely something that we can all resonate with as we're kind of entering this new world of Web3. And I saw a tweet that said One of wants to be the NFT marketplace for people who really don't understand NFTs. And this is such a crucial thing. So I just wanted to know, what is your vision? What are you guys thinking? What does the roadmap look like? And how can folks that are kind of just dabbling and getting their feet wet, how can they kind of approach you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been in the crypto space for a while now. I've been working with our CEO Lynn Dye for about a year and a half, and I think we're all at the tip of the iceberg here. Like, we're all learning. And I bought my first crypto, Ethereum, actually back in 2015, and it was fun. It was because Anastasia and I actually worked at WeWork together, and I met the team. As working with them. But what I think is very interesting is that we're a sustainable platform. So One of, you can buy with credit and debit card, you can buy with ETH, you can buy with Bitcoin. We're on the Tezos blockchain. We're also now working with Polygon. We initially launched and kicked it off with music NFTs. When I say always learning, if you ask most people what an NFT was a year ago, I think people would be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I remember when we first made the initial launch for One of announcement back in May. My friends were like, what are you talking about? What is an NFT? And the reason why we created One of, or the co-founders created One of, is because it's just a very easy way to purchase these collectibles. being able to purchase with credit or debit card is very helpful and useful. We use over 2 million times less energy than other proof of work networks. So it definitely is a lot more affordable. So we're able to mint NFTs for free. We actually just did one today with the Grammys. So if you do want to, learn more about OneOf, you can claim your free Grammy token NFT, and you can go online and sign up for OneOf, and you can get your first free NFT. So our goal is to get 100 million users on our platform and educate consumers about NFTs and the utility behind NFTs.
Wow, that's amazing. The fact that the folks that are tuning in right now can go and get their first ever NFT is so awesome. So definitely take advantage of that, gang, for those of you tuning in. My next question goes to Raisa. I wanted to know, what was the inspiration behind starting Women in Tech NFTs, and how did you get started?
Thank you for that. So the inspiration comes from different sources. The first one is since I'm a UI UX designer, I always tell I don't come from a tech background. I'm a Latina. I am an immigrant. I was born in Cuba and I came to the United States 3 years ago. So I didn't study technology back in Cuba. I got my first computer when I was 17 years old. I didn't know what internet was, but I met my husband. He's a software engineer, and he got me into tech. So I learned basic coding skills. And then since I was a child, I like to draw, and I pivoted into UI UX design. So I always say that tech really helped me to reinvent myself when I came to the United States to get a really good job. And that's why I felt tech really changed my life and improved it. And then that's the first inspiration. The second source would be that last year I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. I'm doing really great right now. But after that, after being able to fight cancer, I wanted to create something to give back. And the third one was I live in Miami. So I went to Art Basel last year, and I went to a lot of tech events, which I love, and NFT events, because it was not only about art, but at the same time, tech and NFTs. But at the events I went, I was looking around the room, and I saw there were a lot of men and few women. So that was my aha moment. So I come from a technology company that I'm working from 9 to 5, and I see that we don't have enough women working in tech, but there are even less in Web3. So I wanted to create with Capital NFTs, with the collection of women in tech NFTs, to support and onboard and bring more women into Web3, NFTs, and crypto.
That is so awesome, and I'm so happy to hear you're doing well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good. And it's so great, because I think a lot of folks are probably a little bit nervous and think you have to have that hardcore tech background to start embracing this. But the fact that you just sort of leaned in and you had the curiosity and you took the approach of, being a creative and appreciating the arts, that's what it's all about, right? And that actually brings me to Nick and Crystal. I wanted you guys to talk a little bit about what the mission of House of First is and what the purpose is.
You can go, Nick.
I'll start. Yeah, the House of First, we're an NFT launch pad. And, we felt as new people enter the space, it is a very scary space. And there's a lot of questions that people have in terms of onboarding and education. And we really wanted to be a safe, fully doxed team that helped real world artists curate collections and then mint them for our very savvy community. And really, that's our mission. With a lot of intent, we really reach out and try to find a lot of real world creators that already have a following, like Rachel Winter, who did our Remarkable Women NFT collection, and Ian Murray, who did our The Everyone's collection. And I just really think education, we've talked about it a lot on Spaces recently. It seems like everybody's on the same page that if we're going to bring people into the space, we've got to be able to onboard them safely. And that's one thing at House of First. We try to provide a community that when people come in for their first NFT, where the moderators, our first mates, and our community is really helpful in letting them set up an NFT, choose and search for NFTs, how to find safety, how to use wallets. But it's really fun to have conversations like this where we're all seem on the same page about creating communities that people can enter the space safely and have success in a very new space. It's a bit of the Wild West. So as much of a way station as we can be for people, as a resource at House of First. Again, by bringing real art, real artists, and safe projects. I think that's a lot of our mission. And there's a charitable component that Crystal can talk about, but we also really have a lot of intent with our collections to try to do more than just put out NFTs, to try to find some meaning behind them and try to have a charitable component.
Yeah, I can just add a little bit to that. So Nick touched on this, like our name suggests, with House of First. One of the big missions behind our work is that we want to be the first, and we want to bring the first to our community. So that sometimes means we've had artists where it was their first NFT collection. So they had their own real world art, their own community on Instagram or their own website, but they weren't familiar with the tech of NFTs, and they didn't know how to build that community in Web3, because it's very different than selling art and building a community in Web 2. So, we really help artists that, they want to dive into this space, but they don't know who to trust. They don't know, the tech behind it. So that's a really big part. And like Nick said, bringing that really authentic art that resonates with people, that has a mission behind it. And then, we do try to build the charitable aspect into our collections. And, that's part of why I think our community connects so much with the art and the projects that we're putting out, is because it isn't just about, getting a drop out the door. We really put a lot of heart into even the artists that we select, the collections that we are curating, and the mission behind our work.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that there's a charitable component to it. And that kind of brings me to my next question to Jen, which is, I know you are not only, you have your role here, but you're also an investor and an advisor as well. And so my thought is, like, when you're looking for projects and when you're looking to see how lucrative something is or how charitable they are or where it's going, do you find yourself kind of popping under the hood a little bit to see what's going on? Or is it just sort of like perception of reality and the excitement and hype of it? What do you think?
No, yeah. I mean, I really invest in the person and the people behind projects. I mean, that's my go-to. You obviously have to do your research on the different projects, but a lot of it, has to do with the gumption and the energy and the passion behind the founders. I think that there's a lot of people that just want to put projects together, whether it's in NFTs or consumer goods. And it's very interesting to watch how some projects, can just skyrocket and take off. I mean, I saw a lot of this in my previous career, working with a lot of entrepreneurs and members of our community. And, I was fortunate enough to meet a lot of entrepreneurs. And I don't know what the statistics are, but a lot of them do not succeed. So you have to have that drive and that energy to keep it going, and the persistence. It's a lot of work. I mean, we're all going through it right now, just in this NFT space and in launching campaigns. And I tell, the partners that we're working with, whether they're like music artists like Doja Cat or emerging artist, we just launched our sports vertical with Sports Illustrated. And it's so important to have like the athletes and artists on board and really rallying behind each drop.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I love that, like, the current artists and celebrities are getting so excited and pumped about it, but even as the newer ones are coming up, they want this to be a part of their portfolio and a part of their presence. So it's so cool to see where this is going to go in the next few years, for sure.
Yeah, I did want to mention something about how important it is for experiences tied to NFTs, which gives them some sort of, utility. I know that a lot of projects are doing this, and I think it's an interesting time, and we're just all figuring it out, quite frankly.
Yeah, That's so true. Here in Washington too, we're figuring it out. I mean, even you guys can imagine, like on Capitol Hill with congressmen and senators and governors, like they're trying to see if there's a way they can kind of add NFT collection to their, tickets as they're kind of signing up to be, for their next round of voting or whatever comes to get, the younger generation more excited and hyped about being, either a Republican or a Democrat or whatever they choose to be. So it's so cool to see everyone embracing it in their own way.
And watching how, like, I moved from New York down to Miami, and Miami is just such a huge tech hub right now. I mean, when I'm out and about, like, it's really all people talk about, different forms of crypto, NFTs.
Yeah.
So
it's everywhere now. That's true.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. Raisa, fellow Miami resident over here, wanted to pick your brain, and I wanted to ask you, as we kind of talked about, it is male dominated in general, the tech space. And we're trying to carve that path for women allies. Why is it important to have those male allies in this space? In addition to bringing in women, why do we still need to make sure that we have, hashtag he for she, as the United Nations calls it, of making sure we have that support from the males?
So that's a question that I get, and I think daily in our Discord or Twitter when I do spaces. I have a lot of men that come up and say, "Hey, Raisa, I know this is a project that represents women, and if you see in the art, I know Tahera, you've seen it. It's women with arm like the strong pose, showing that they're strong and they're powerful, and at the same time we have like the hoodies and the t-shirts with tech messages. There's one that I think will be great for Jen because it says moving to Miami 305, because I'm like a true Miamian, so that would be great. But I always get asked like, "Hey, Raisa, if I am a man, like, should I be part of this?" And I always say like, of course. This is not an exclusive community. I don't want to create an exclusive project just for women. This is an inclusive project, and we need men allies. And if you go to our Discord, you will see that most of our members are men, because they always say we're fathers, we're husbands, and we want the female in our lives be represented in this space. And even though we are supporting women because we want to empower more women, we are investing in 50 women-led projects with 60% of our minting sales. We're also supporting our men because men will be also our withholders. And some of these NFTs that we're going to buy from these 50 women-led projects that we're investing in will be given back to our community holders. So no matter who you are going to be part of this utility. And we want our holders also to be able to earn ETH. This is something that we haven't announced yet, but that's also always something that I say. We need allies. We shouldn't be able to do this alone.
I love that. That's so great. And I love that you're already thinking ahead and building out your roadmap and trajectory. That's so awesome to think about that. Sometimes even as a personal, NFT, I have not yet minted one, but when I'm looking, I'm thinking to myself, like, what's important to me? I want to make sure I'm a part of a community that's doing something positive for whether it's women in tech, for whether it's, a philanthropic particular nonprofit organization or whatever it is. I always want to make sure it's tied to something special that's important to me, because then that's how I kind of know, like, I'm sort of doing my part here too, which I love. And that brings me back to Nick and Crystal. I want to know, what does the future hold? So what are your upcoming projects? Get us excited.
I mean, I can go quickly first. The thing about our NFTs, and we're so emotionally attached to it. In particular, the Remarkable Women NFT was the last one we did, and because there's a secondary component to sales, I just want to, to our current holders, we've got a lot of new collections, but man, that's never going away. For us, these are important collections, and the intent was for these to build communities that are going to last for a long time. So the one thing that we always have, and we're very fortunate. We talked about a docs team and believing in a team. I think me and Crystal would both say we're very fortunate to work with NFT companies, and our parent company is Landmark Ventures in New York, which has an award-winning worldwide events company. That's one of their specialties. So for us, meeting people in real life in our network, meeting all these wonderful people in our global community that all have the same values, and meeting in real life is really important to us. Tomorrow, actually, I've got an early morning flight to Los Angeles tomorrow. We're doing a Remarkable Women Day event for International Women's Day at Fred Siegel. And we also have an event at South by Southwest to meet our members. In New York, everyone hopefully can come and visit us. For NFT NYC, we have another event. So it's very important. But in terms of new projects, our next project we're very excited, is a really wonderful Brazilian artist named Butcher Billy, who's a comic legend. He's done a lot of frontline comics. And the great thing about this collection, just like our first 3 collections, 10% is going to be donated to our Remarkable Women Impact Fund of the secondary proceeds. So we're running, all of our collections are going to be funneling into some of our, we're not going to, we just started that collection. So we're really excited about our Butcher Billy drop. I guess I can talk about it. Yeah, we're talking with Ja Rule and Bam Adebayo, who plays for the Miami Heat, about a new part of House of First. And I guess I can introduce it here first. It's going to be a painted house collection featuring some minority and underrepresented artists that they had in mind. And those collections are also going to have intent to find, empower underrepresented people that are, really people we want to get in our community, and collections that now we're looking for some new charities, some with mental health, some with homelessness, to really tie onto for our future collections. And just more, the House of First, we really want to work on when people are coming into the space and they're just setting up their wallet, that their first experience is a safe, happy one. They buy a great piece of art. They have a community that's safe, that they feel comfortable, that they're not going to get rugged, and there's going to be a charitable component to it. And we just feel like we can be a really nice first step for people entering in the space. So I'm not sure. I'm sure Crystal might have some other alpha she might want to drop on some stuff we have coming up, maybe in terms of our fashion. You can expect with fashion from House of First.
Yes. Well, that is a big part. If you've seen the Remarkable Women NFTs, Rachel Winter did an amazing job with the characters that she created. These women are very empowering. They all have a remark on their shirt that, I feel like is, some of it can be a term that maybe you identify with, or maybe that makes you feel empowered. And some of it's just a little bit of attitude, there's a cute one where there's like a hoodie and it says "not today" and things like that, where, it's just kind of like fits your mood. But the clothing is so cute, and the patterns that she created. And so we actually have basically like metaverse wearables that we're creating. And then with that, I don't know how much I can divulge, but so we have a staking mechanism where you can stake the Remarkable Women NFTs, and then you accumulate points. And then those points will be used to purchase those metaverse wearables. And then the plan is down the road to be able to potentially burn that wearable for the physical clothing. And so if you've been to our Twitter page for House of First, there are a couple examples shown, and there's the black and white jacket with the flower pattern that I have to have. The first time I saw it, I was just like, yes, I need that in real life on my body. So yeah, it's just those types of things that, and our community is super excited about it. And just the staking in and of itself is just kind of tech forward, because it's gasless staking. So it never leaves your wallet. So it's not that, sort of scary situation where you're like, am I ever going to get my NFTs back? You don't have to worry about that with our staking. We also have staking with our first collection with the Everyone's, not to get too, in depth and all that. But yes, that's part of that utility piece that we build into every collection, because we know how important that is. There are some people who strictly want to collect NFTs based on the art. And of course, that's a big focus for us as well. But we also understand that, there's ways that we can build for the long term, so that, people really find value in our collections and our project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I know one question people have about safety is, where do I mint my first NFT? Maybe they go to Instagram and they say, oh, there's 200,000 followers, I'm going to go mint this NFT. I think the one rule that I would give everyone, and, it is our team. It's a doxed team. Make sure that the people from the NFT that you're buying from, that their name. They should have a LinkedIn page. They should be upfront, in my opinion, about who they are in real life and take responsibility. And traditionally within crypto, anonymity was kind of a thing. Yeah. And I would just recommend, be really careful if you buy an NFT for a good amount of money and you don't know who the real devs are. If you don't know if they have a history, try to find a team that's got a history in charitable organizations, a history on Wall Street, a history in law, something in their resume that would lead you to believe that you can trust them. And I think that's really the key. Instead of look for really home runs, the home runs are going to be finding trusted teams and people that with a resume that you can believe in their projects, because it is really tough. These are on, anybody can drop an NFT, but to run an NFT company, it takes backbone, and it takes resilience, and it takes character. So, invest in people.
And also, like, go to Discord and to do your research, and definitely make sure that the marketplace that you're working with is valid. Press behind it.
Yeah, never rush.
Yeah. Raisa, any thoughts on that? This is really important. The trust piece.
I think that's the first tip that you have to learn, and something that Jen will say, like, invest in people. And then Nick was repeating himself, invest in the founders.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I always say, don't ever buy anything that you wouldn't put on your wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, I really, really, really appreciate you guys. You have really inspired and motivated me. And I want to end this by asking each of you one piece of advice you're giving folks who are just starting out. So I'll start with Raisa, and then I'll do Jen, and then Crystal and Nick. So Raisa?
So I would be like, go to Twitter. Like, Twitter is the place where everything's happening. Like, go to spaces, jump in, ask questions, read all the threads, and you will see the Web3 community is welcoming. They want you to learn, and they are waiting you with arms open.
That's awesome. Jen, what are your thoughts?
Yes. I mean, I'm going to have to plug this, but go to oneof.com and go pick up your free Grammy NFT. It's free, easy to do. And, we really want to educate people on the power of Web3 and get people excited about these collectibles. So thank you.
Thank you. Crystal?
Well, a lot of really good tips were shared today. I think, trust is a big factor in crypto and NFTs, and like the others has stated, there's really a shift starting to happen where, there's a focus on docs teams. And so for people that don't know what that means, docs just means that their information is public, and they give you their true name. A lot of us do use profile pictures on like Twitter or Discord, but you can go to our website, and our real information is there. You can link to our LinkedIn, which gives our real names. So I think that's an important aspect. There's a lot of different techniques and ways that people collect NFTs, and if you're talking more long term, and you want something that some people would argue you should try to go towards something that you could feel confident holding for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having that, trust in the team is truly important.
I love that. Yeah. And our favorite ally, Nick, bring it home.
I would say there's been such good advice shared today. Find some art that speaks to you is always what I say as an art collector. I got in before community. For me, I just followed some of my favorite artists. I'm a very nomadic person. I end up moving a lot. So to collect physical art for me wasn't smart. It was stuff. I don't like stuff. I'm a minimalist. And I can own 200 NFTs and feel like I don't have a lot of stuff. It's got so much value, but it's not a lot of stuff to carry around. So find some art that moves you. And the other thing I would say is find 1 or 2 communities that are your home. A lot of people come in and they're in 7 or 8 or 9, and they kind of sporadically jump from community to community. They never really find a home. I really like that I've got 2 or 3 communities that when I go in, I know everybody's name and they know my name. It's kind of like Cheers. And I really think that's important. Just, find 1 or 2 communities you resonate and put the time in there. Now ask not what your community and your devs can do for you. Ask what you can do for your devs and your community. And, find your 1 or 2 homes. And everything will work out from there. Don't get discouraged with too many places. Find out places that know your name when you enter the room.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love it. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to share your insight and your expertise with our community here at WCoin. We're looking forward to having more chats with you. I hope next go around, maybe we could do a little deep dive of exactly what we were talking about, opening your first wallet, your digital wallet, and maybe minting your first NFT. So some guidance around that I think would be so much appreciated. But for this evening, thank you guys so much. And I hope that we get to have this conversation again soon.
Thank you so much to Hera, and thank you so much to all of our panelists. It was such a great conversation today. We learned so many tips and definitely a lot of things that I'm going to take with me. I agree, understanding the team, understanding the community. You know, it's one thing to appreciate the art, but it's as everyone said today, it's a business, and you need to be able to look under the hood and see what's there before you're investing some real money or crypto into it. So thank you all so much for joining again, and we hope to host another event soon. And please make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WCoin Network, and sign up for our newsletters and keep in touch.